Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of QA Bytes. In the last two episodes, we talked about scope and approach required for effective automation and testing. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of test environment management. Even if you have the appropriate test suites and tests and have created the perfect framework, if you don't have a stable test environment, and as we'll discuss in the next episode, stable test data, it's not going to matter. A stable test environment is absolutely required for reliable, automated execution. Let's take a look at the spectrum of test environment and data situations. At one end, we have the good old static shared environments that are created and seem to persist forever. And I still see a lot of people implementing DevOps processes and are still working with shared static environments. I've added stale to that because by their very nature, the data in these environments often becomes stale over time. This type of environment often causes a cascading set of issues. Because they're shared, that causes instability in the data. Someone changes data that is needed by someone else, and depending on the approach to managing the data, and often there isn't one, the data is probably stale. We also have scheduling conflicts. Maybe UAT is trying to do their work, but you also need to run a load test. And it's probably not very production-like either. Very often not in size or shape, but also no one is ever quite sure what the configuration is. And those issues are the root cause of automation challenges we referred to earlier. Data instability results in unreliable execution. Because we can't rely on the data, we're forced to set up all our data each time we want to execute the test. And that doesn't sound like very fast feedback. Data or configuration issues can result in false positives, or worse, false negatives. And all that results in a ridiculously long time for analysis, because you're really not sure if the issues are actually issues, and if they are, what caused them. Now let's take a look at the other end of the environment data spectrum, where we have dynamic, dedicated, and fresh environments. We'll take a look at how DevOps teams create these environments in a bit, but for now it's important to see that these environments are much more automation friendly. They're dynamic so we can create them on demand. Because they're easier to create and manage, we can likely have more of them and dedicate them to specific function and eliminate all the issues associated with sharing. For the same reasons, we can make them production-like if we want. And since we're creating the environment on demand, we might as well ensure that it has the data we need in the state that we need it to be in. Test environment management is a pretty big topic, but for today I want to focus on some of the technologies that allow us to move to the right on that spectrum towards dynamic, dedicated, and fresh environments. Modern platform technologies like virtual machines and containers, combined with the scalability of the cloud, begin to give us the ability to move away from the large, static, shared environments of our past. When you combine these platform technologies with another important DevOps technology, infrastructure as code, you get the ability to create and destroy environments on demand for very specific purposes. We're now moving very quickly towards dynamic, dedicated, and fresh environments, which is going to give us a solid base on which to execute effective automated test suites. Thank you for watching this episode of QA Bytes. Tune into the next episode where we'll discuss techniques for managing data in your DevOps test environments.